Hi there, thank you for stopping by. Today we are going to take a track breakdown of my latest track called Attempt, and it sounds like this, or maybe this instead. Yeah, so this is basically how it sounds like. I have to apologize in advance if you hear any clicks, because my CPU is barely able to play this track in real time, so I probably should freeze some of the tracks, but I haven't done it, so... well, we can dive right into it and go to the first track here. It's the kick. The kick is just a basic sample from a sample pack called Dave Parkinson's. So it's actually the first kick in the pack. So lazy me just took the first kick and I did some EQing on it. Cut the very, very low end from 33 Hertz. Cut some of the 500 Hertz range and the higher range there. The original kick sounds like this. We can turn off the EQ and play the original kick. Okay, and with EQ. And without EQ. So I just did that because I thought it fit the track better. And with that said, it's I'm not saying that everything I do here is the way to produce music. There is always different ways of doing things. And if, for example, you have a better way of doing something, please sign off in the comments, and maybe we can learn something together, all of us. Kick layer here is, if I'm not mistaken, is just some kind of atmospheric thing to add to the kick. Yeah, it's I think it's a clap actually. No, it's a snare. Yeah. So if we solo the kick and the kick layer, it sounds a bit more fat. And as you can see here, I also EQ'd the snare, but I haven't activated it, so I think I should do that. I'm referring to the disclaimer you heard earlier here. There are many different ways of doing things. So every red thing here are drums, claps, percussion, and effects related to drums, like maybe some uplifters and white noise. So in the clap group, I have two different clap samples, and they sound like this. And we also have some processing here, EQing. I'm taking off everything from actually pretty far down. So every low end thing is gone. And then I compress it a little with the glue compressor. And then I use the capitator apparently to give it some more saturation. But the decapitator could be replaced with a plugin from Ableton Live. I think it's under yeah, you have saturator here, for example. You could use that instead. Closed hi-hat, open hi-hat with EQing, compressors, shakers. There's nothing. Then I have some percussion effects. Most of these are just audio samples from I don't know where I got them from, but they are there. Just sounds. So I find it, if the sample doesn't really have that much action going on, I often don't EQ it. So this one, well, we could actually place an EQ on it to check. See if we. Okay, there's a little in the low end, but not that much. So here is actually one good example of I have finished this track, it's done. I don't plan to do anything more on it, but if I would go back to this track now, I would probably add this cut on the low end on this Percussion 1 track here, because you want to make room for bass tracks like the bass. So every low end you don't need from, for example, this one is smart to take away, cut it off. But then again, you can't sit like 6 months and make a track. Then you never get finished. So here we have a bass group. It consists of 2 main bass tracks, mid bass and high bass. So we can take the mid bass first. It's a bass patch from Serum. And then I use Decapitator to beef it up a little. And then I have another bass track from Serum to kind of have live in the high end spectrum. And then these 2 bass tracks are grouped into a bass group track with some EQing, where I take away some of the boom here around 180 Hertz, and then I use a limiter to kind of glue these 2 tracks together a little bit. And it's usually more noticeable if you have here, as you can see here, I have the same note going on, but if you have different notes, you also occasionally have a different amplitude or sound. The loudness of the sound can vary between the bass notes. So if you put a limiter on it, it will be consistent. So it's easier to mix. And then, in addition to the bass, I have some effects going, which are related to the bass. That's why I color it a little lighter blue color. So So if you're still here, I would appreciate a subscribe or click a like. Thank you for watching. Let's try getting this track higher up in the search results. And if you want me to make more videos like this, if you subscribe, that's a sign to me that you like it. So yeah. All white tracks, they are colored, all external hardware I use are colored white in my tracks. So here I have used my Moog. So here is the MIDI data for the Moog, and here is the audio file, the rendered audio file from the synth. And it's, as you can hear, it's heavily processed, so if we actually remove everything here, just turn everything off. We still have an delay there, it should, maybe it's this one. And then we get to the leads. They are usually played with Diva. Here is a patch I like. I've taken off a lot of the low end and raised the high end a little. Then we have another Diva with some effects from Decapitator and some sausage fattener. And here I also use Gatekeeper. Gatekeeper adds this nice rhythm to the lead. So it's almost like a sidechain, but it's not a real compressor. It mainly just automates the volume after different patterns, so I like to use it sometimes. So all these leads are layers, and together they sound like this. Oops, let's go back again. And then all effects, I usually color them purple, and these are just atmospheric effects. And we can take a look at atmospheric effect number 2, for example. So if we turn off the things here, this is the original sound from Silent. And if I add, not now, and if I add Decapitator and Gatekeeper, you get this more moving type of effect. And I also think here is also an effect I created from using Absynth manipulator, basically. So here's the original sound from Absynth. It's just an included patch from here from a Native Instruments. It sounds like this. We can add some bass. Okay, so if we add the manipulator and some high pass, it sounds like this. So So if you use different type of effects, it's pretty easy to make some sounds that's kind of your own. It's the combinations are endless. So so there you have it. So this is actually the complete track. It's finished. You have download links in the video description. You can go to my website and download it. It's not on Spotify or anything yet, but it's coming there later this year. And again, there are always different ways of doing things in Ableton Live. If you have a better way of doing something I have shown here, please sign off in the comments. And if you want me to continue making videos like this, subscribe and press like. Well, thank you for watching, and talk to you later. Goodbye.